Okay, we're ready to start another one of our programs on My Dog and Me, and boy, do I have a show for you this time. Not only do we have a person who runs a rescue organization, which we're going to tell you a lot about, and somebody else who rescues dogs, we're going to give you an opportunity to meet 4 different German Shepherds. So my person to my left, and when you're looking on the film here, on the right is Lori Moses with
Kyla.
Kyle, and Kyle is how old?
Kyla's 7 months.
7-month-old male.
She's a girl.
Oh, female German Shepherd. Okay, and then on my right I have Eric Danielson, and introduce yourself, Eric.
All right, we have Sadie, who's about 1.5 years old. We have Zeus over here laying on the floor, and he is 1.5 years old. And we have Bella, who is 4 years old.
Okay, well, I wanted to do this program because, first of all, I believe so strongly in shelters and people that rescue dogs, and I heard that Lori did a lot of rescuing of German Shepherds, and one of the individuals that works with me with therapy dogs has one of your dogs, Judy Mears. So Judy gave me a little bit of a push and a shove, and that was okay because I was planning on doing it anyways. So let's talk about German Shepherds and what's the difference with all these and everything else. So tell us just about German Shepherds in general.
They're very good dogs.
Why?
They're very loyal. They're very smart, protective of family. You wouldn't have anybody breaking in your house in the middle of the night with a shepherd. But they also love people.
They love their family, or they love?
They love everybody.
Okay.
Now they are a one-person dog sometimes in a family. They will pick one person, and that's going to be their person. But they love the whole family.
Are they good with other dogs in a family?
Yes. I have 4.
You have 4.
I have 4 shepherds.
What do you have? You've got this one
I
here.
have 2 females and 2 males. I have 2 9-year-old males, or a 9-year-old male, a 9-year-old female, a 3-year-old male, and then Kyle.
And they're all rescued?
My 2 older ones are not. That was before I started rescue,
Oh,
and I got
okay.
them from a breeder. I started in 2019.
And now you, look at this.
Yeah.
We're having a love
She's
fest
jealous
over here.
about him.
I'm jealous. I want all the attention.
She's like, I want to.
Why would anybody, I should clarify, I'm not necessarily a Shepherd fan. And everybody that watches this knows that I love collies. And I've never really been around Shepherds except for Judy Mears's, and that's what Nico's doing a good job right now. But tell me about their character. Let's talk about their size. How big do they get?
A male, standard size is 24 to 26 inches at the shoulder.
So these guys, is this one kind of bigger than that, or?
She's probably a little bit bigger than breed standard. Female is, I think, 22 to 24 inches, 50 to 70 pounds.
Okay.
Is what a female should weigh. A male is, I think, 70 to 90. Some are bigger, some are smaller. Depends on what they were bred with or if they're purebred. Like I said, my male I have that's 9 years old is 110 pounds.
Wow.
And he's not fat. He's just a big shepherd.
Huh. What colors do they come in? This is the most common over here, isn't it?
That's black and tan.
Is that the
Or
most
black
common?
and cream, you would call it. Yep, Kyla's also black and tan. There's a lot of colors. There's solid black, you have black and silver, you have black and red, you have white, you have solid black. I know I've missed some.
Have you ever had any white ones?
No, I've had white ones I brought up.
Oh,
I've never
have you?
owned one, but I have rescued a few solid white. Yep.
There was a large organization of them in the Midwest. There was a white shepherd people. They used to have a lot of dog shows based entirely on
the
just
white
having
ones.
nothing but white
Yep.
shepherds.
There's also sable, you have liver, which is 2 colors of brown. You don't see that
What's
a lot.
this
Blue.
one down here? What's this little one's
He'd be
name?
black and tan, that's Zeus.
Zeus. Are these
So,
all considered black
all
and tan?
these ones are considered black and tan.
Yeah, they're all
Oh, okay. Wow. And what about, their ears are always this way, the big
Yep,
ears.
they should have erect ears.
You know, I just saw one recently, though, that the ears weren't up.
They can get damaged as puppies because of the
Really?
cartilage in them. So if a litter mate gets a hold of their ears or another dog, it will damage the cartilage and they won't stand. But they usually come up, it all depends. I've had them as young as, puppies come up and rescue as young as 8 weeks with their ears up already. And I've had some not till about 4 months old come up.
Well, Eric,
Yes.
what about their health issues? What type of health issues do shepherds have?
I think statistically the major one is the hip dysplasia. That gets a lot of German Shepherds. My previous German Shepherd actually had heart failure, congestive heart failure. So
Well, I noticed, and neither one of you can answer this, but you know, so many of the shepherds were bred so much that they have that lower rear end.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, because we've seen so much of that, and I think they're trying to breed that out now, aren't they?
I think they're trying to, but that's what they wanted. So they
Why?
bred to get it. For the looks, the show dogs, it has the lower end in the back, which then just created more hip problems
More
than they
hip,
already had.
yeah, I would think.
They're very prone, like Eric said, to hip dysplasia. They're very prone to that. If you get a good breeder that checks their dogs for that, then you're good, but you don't have a lot of good breeders around. I mean, there's some, I'm not saying there's not, but most of them just, you know, will get Sadie there or get Kyla here and get a male and say, I'm gonna breed them without ever checking them.
Backyard breeders.
Yeah, so
Just do
if she
whatever.
has hip dysplasia or Kyla happens to have hip dysplasia, all the puppies are gonna have hip dysplasia.
What do you do to protect that as an owner? Do you allow that Dasaquin and things like that?
You can, but if they're gonna get it, you
They're gonna
can't
get it.
prevent it. It's something they get young, you know, when they're young. They're born with it. It's not, you know, it's congenital.
Wow. The personality of it, because as I said, you're talking me into this now because I'm not a fan, although I'm starting to like them because they're right here in front of me. So tell me about their personality.
They're all unique, I'll tell you that. But they are, like I said, they're very protective. They will pick one person in the house, but they love everybody in the house. But they're protective of their home. You gotta do a lot of socialization. A lot of the ones you see that are returned, you know, you had asked earlier about why they end up
Yeah.
in shelters, is that they didn't socialize them. You know, they have to be around people, they have to be around other animals, or they get too protective. You know, they're also a breed that needs to be around people.
What about, are these guys in, do each have fenced-in yards?
No, I don't have a fenced in yard. I
Well,
live
keep-
out in the country.
They just run loose?
Mine do, but I trained them to stay in the yard. I don't
you-
have an underground fence either,
You just
but
train them?
I just trained them to stay in the yard. They
What,
stay in the yard.
what do you have, fenced-in yard?
I do not have a fenced-in yard. I just walk mine a lot. This morning we took him on I took him on a 3-mile walk.
How many people come up to you when you're walking those dogs and say, may I pet your dog?
Usually a couple every time I take him for a walk.
A few.
But most people tend to
Afraid of
cross
them.
the street,
Absolutely.
especially if they bark at them or if they kind of follow them. They get a little nervous, and usually I can talk people into if they want to pet them. I'm more than happy to let them pet them. They're very friendly, but like Lori said, they're very protective of their people, of their families. So if you have to socialize them a lot to get them to understand that it's okay and they don't have to be scared.
Well, when you came out of the car, and I'm listening to this gang come flying towards me, I'm thinking, oh my God. And then it wasn't me that the problem was. The problem was
Kyle.
was Kyle. And then
saw
suddenly
Kyle.
up here they could care who I am. I mean, there's no issue about anything here at all.
Yeah, now they settle down. It's just one of the, you know, that's just,
The second one here, who's this?
This is Bella.
Bella. And how old is she?
She's 4.
She seems to have a lot more around than, she's a huge neck.
Yeah, she has a big neck and a big body. I think that's the border collie in her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that's from the border collie. But she has a lot of the German Shepherd traits, but she has like the border collie design, I think.
Do they shed a lot?
yes.
Oh yes,
Look at this.
yes. They shed.
German shedders or German shredders, because they'll shred things too.
Oh, yes.
They shed year round. They have a double coat. So all year. I mean, it's all year they shed.
I have to vacuum my house every day.
Yeah, I said if you don't, it's bad.
I had some people in my house on Friday night, I think it was, and I had a sign on the wall because there were about 6 of us eating, and I put it right where everyone could see it because the joke in my house is, in my house, dog hair is a condiment.
Oh yeah, that's
Because
about
I eat every conceivable meal with dog hair.
Oh,
It's
sure.
on me, it's on you, it's on both of us now. We both have light colored
Oh, yeah. It'll be all
things
over
I'm
me.
saying. But if we had black shorts and a t-shirt and I had black and you
Oh,
had
you would
black,
be covered with it.
oh, we'd be covered with it. And it's that little hair,
Theirs is a little bit longer.
is it?
Yeah, depends, because you have long coats, you have plush coats. Sadie's more of a
Go
short
back,
coat.
go back. How many different coats do they come in?
You have a long coat, which I wish I had an adopter that had one that could have brought one. So long hair, they look more like a collie almost. Like
Really?
your collies, they have very long hair. She would be a stock coat. You know, she's the short coat. Kyla was more of a plush. You know, if you feel her coat, you'll feel the difference. But they all still shed the same. But that's the 3 different coat variations usually that they'll come in.
Do they eat a lot?
Yep. No more than I would say a lab or anything else. I mean, she gets 2 cups twice a day.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what
she eats
mine
4
gets,
cups of
yeah.
food. So I mean, it's
Yeah,
not,
that's what mine
they don't
gets,
eat a lot, but.
I've actually trained mine to free range.
Oh, have you?
Oh, have you? Why? Don't they fight over that?
Nope, they get along just fine.
So
I have 2 big bowls, and they just go over and eat when they're hungry, and they don't fight, they don't argue. They all like to eat out of the same bowl though, until that run one's out, and then they go to the next bowl.
when you go to work, where are they? Crated?
No, I let them, they roam
They're
the house.
loose in your house? Who's with them?
Sometimes somebody's home with them, sometimes nobody's home with them, but they kind of watch the house while.
Oh, sure. I don't think I'm coming in.
They look outside, and sometimes when you drive by the house, you'll see him laying in the window. He gets up and lays by the window.
Which
so
one?
he can look out. Zeus,
That's this one here.
the little one, Zeus.
Oh.
So he'll lay up on the back of the couch and look out the window.
He definitely has a lot of the shepherd face, you know, in the face, but the size is so much
We
smaller.
didn't realize, with rescue, you kind of never know what you're getting when you take a litter of puppies. And he had Chihuahua. You know, when we have the
Yeah.
DNA done, it was Shepherd Chihuahua.
Do you let you've got 4 dogs. Do you have free range as far as eating?
No, mine get fed. Mine,
At a certain time?
yeah.
So do mine.
They get fed before I go to work, or in the morning, and then I feed them about 5:30, 6 o'clock.
I like that pre.
Mine would eat until they probably
Well, so would mine.
die, probably.
Mine
I mean, they would
too.
just eat and eat and eat. They just wouldn't stop.
I have a Shih Tzu that would eat till he exploded.
Yeah.
That's how he just constantly. But I like that if you don't, I like whenever you have set schedules because then you also tend to have more of an idea when
When they're gonna go to the bathroom.
when their pooping is.
Yeah.
And that's why I like it because I know what that schedule is going to be. You walk your dogs a lot.
I walk them pretty much every day, and they go out 3 or 4 times a day. I take them outside, and I play with them in the yard. They like to play with sticks, so we get a stick and we throw sticks. And they do really good. I have expandable 16-foot leash that I take them out on,
Okay.
so that they can run, but they can't take off and run.
Do you walk all 3 at the same time, like you do whenever you came in?
Yep.
What's your past with Shepherd? You said you had him before?
I had one female shepherd before. We had her for almost 10 years. She was a really, really good dog. She was well trained when we got her.
Was she a shelter dog, a rescue?
Yes, she was. She came actually from Meadville's animal shelter.
Animal shelter.
We got her from there at 3 years old, and we never had to put her on a leash.
Wow.
She just stayed in the yard.
And what's your past with German Shepherds? How far back do they go? You had when you were
My
younger?
first
or-
one, oh yeah, I got my first one probably when I was 22.
No.
I'm 52, so I shouldn't tell
So
me
you've
age,
had
right?
it-
You shouldn't tell me that.
You've
I
had it
think
for
now
30 years.
I'm on, yeah, I think I'm on now, with the 4 I have, I think it's 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I've had 10 shepherds over.
And I've had
since 30
10
years.
collies, so we're both nuts,
Yeah.
without a question. What else do we need to know about these guys just in general? Is there anything else? Like, if you were going to tell me the 3 best reasons in the world why I should have a German Shepherd rather than any other dog, what's their best characteristics?
I think the number one thing is you never have to go to the bathroom alone again. They
Go
always
right
follow
in,
you. They
oh,
follow you
yeah.
right in there. They follow you everywhere.
I know.
They're very loving. They're very.
They're
They're
loyal.
very, very loyal, very good animals. I love them. I couldn't imagine not having them. But I mean, I think it's really important. I think where a lot of people go wrong is they don't train them and work with them. And they can get out of hand if you don't train them.
Well, they get a bad rap. Look at the insurance companies. If you want German Shepherds, isn't your homeowner sometimes more?
Now, State Farm doesn't do that, but it can. You have a lot of
A lot of
that
them
won't
do
let
that.
them have them along with their pitties and rots, and I think a lot of them get that.
And some of the Dobies too.
Um,
They seem to be the high ones for.
And you were commenting about walking. You know, we go camping a lot, so and I have my 4. And like I said, my male's pretty big. My female's also 90 pounds.
What
So
color
mine-
are they?
They're black and, my male's black and tan, my female's black and red.
Oh,
And then
okay.
my other one looks a lot like Sadie. But people will walk on the other side of the road. You know, they'll pick up their little dog that they're carrying and
I would.
run with it. And I'm like, okay. But Never had any
People
trouble.
are-
Mind and respect other dogs, especially on a leash, you know, but you also have control of them. You know, I'm not gonna let them get to another dog.
I kid people and I don't think I'd ever own one, but two of our best therapy dogs, there was a lady down in Greenville, her name was Joan Heverly, and she had a German Shepherd and I loved that dog. It was one of the nicest therapy dogs I'd ever been around. And the one we've got going through it now, so I'm starting to change my mind on these guys a little bit.
They're very smart. I mean, just that's the biggest thing too, is they are just a smart, you have to have an owner smarter than a dog,
Well, you've got to be the alpha.
because they're smart.
You're the
They're
boss,
just
aren't you?
smart. Yeah.
Are you the boss in your house?
Yes.
There's no doubt in my mind who the
They,
boss
they
in my
listen
house
to
is.
me.
Oh, yes. And if they don't, then there's
Yeah.
some correction in there. Okay, so we've got the whole thing down about the German Shepherds. I can't think of anything. Is there anything else we need to tell the people that are watching about the German Shepherds, just so they know? Look at this big sis sitting on your lap.
Yeah, just their little lap dogs.
Oh,
They're lap
no.
dogs. There she is. Kind of.
She's very pretty face.
But they're very smart. Like I said, I don't think you can ever go wrong with having one.
Really?
I don't.
I
don't
well,
believe you could.
I think I agree somewhat with you, Cindy. The wrong people always have them.
Yes.
And the people who don't take the time, and we always talk about this with all the breeds that we do, why don't you find out about the dogs? Why don't you find out what it takes to have a good one? I just recently did a program which we'll be showing pretty soon that was on huskies. And so many huskies end up in shelters too because people have no idea. They put a husky in a second floor apartment and never take him out to
They're too
exercise.
active.
What are they doing? I mean, they gotta be nuts to do something like that.
You have to research the breed.
Oh, absolutely, that is so important.
Like these guys like to be active, you know, I'm not saying they couldn't be a good apartment dog if you walked. If you were active yourself and could get them
Right.
exercise, they could live in an apartment. It's not that they couldn't. But you couldn't just put them in an apartment and leave them there and never do anything.
Right, right.
They just would not thrive well in that.
Okay, let's talk about the organization that I'm sure is near and dear to your heart. And that's
I
how
don't
we
think so.
kind of started this whole thing. What are you doing? Are you trying to cause trouble? But you are.
Investigating, kind
You're
of.
not supposed to be causing trouble in here. Tell us about Saving Shepherds. How did it get its name? How long have you had it? Tell me everything that I need to know about this because, as you say, there are too many dogs in too many shelters and we don't need to keep breeding them. There are a lot of dogs that could be saved. So tell me about Saving Shepherds. Everything about them that I should know.
We started in 2019, and how I actually got started was with my 3.5-year-old male that I had. I'm on a lot
And
of
he was a-
shepherd.
he was a sh- he was
He
a
was in the
rescue.
rescue.
Okay.
He was actually in Harris County,
Where's that?
Texas.
Texas,
Houston,
okay.
Texas.
Sit.
Him and his two siblings.
Sit.
And
Sit.
I'm on a lot of German Shepherd sites, owner sites, pretty much anybody has them. You're always on
I-
sites or
I
you're
am
on collie
too, I am
sites.
too.
And they had come up on the site that they were getting euthanized, these 3 12-week-old pups. And I was like, what are they talking about? They euthanized puppies. So I called the shelter and ended up with all 3 of them. I adopted out 2 with people I work with.
Right away.
Yeah, they were, I talked to them before, because I didn't have the rescue at that time. I'm like, look, there's 3 puppies here, they're getting euthanized. Would you guys want a shepherd?
That's the word that does it with people.
And
They're gonna be-
that's-
they're going to be put down.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
that's-
so
that
they took
fires
them.
people up.
And then after that, I actually got to looking at the Texas is bad, Florida's bad, but it's every day there. I mean, it's moms, it's puppies, it's pregnant moms. I mean, it's not just shepherds, but shepherds are very common there.
Really?
I think it's because
wonder why
they
that
breed
is.
them. They have, every other house is trying to breed German Shepherds to sell them, to think they're gonna make all this money. And then the puppies get 10, 12 weeks old and you still have 10 puppies in your yard. I don't want them, I'm taking them to the shelter.
Before we go into more about Saving Shepherds, how much do these dogs cost?
From a breeder,
Yes.
if you go to a good breeder, you can pay $2,500 for a shepherd.
Really?
If you get a good breeder, now you have your backyard breeders that are gonna charge
And we
you
have
$400 or
lots of
$500 or $600. I mean, you have that.
Uh-huh.
But a good one, they're expensive.
Okay, so we know how you got started in Saving Shepherds. How did you get started helping this and being an adoptive person for shepherds?
My wife actually found it, and we were looking for another shepherd, and my wife found it. Must have been on Facebook, and got a hold of Lori, and we ended up with Zeus first, and then we got Sadie. Like she was supposed to just be we were supposed to just foster her for 2 weeks, and then we went to meet a couple of potential adopters, and we just couldn't get rid of her. So now here she is. So that's how we got involved with it, and
Is your wife as crazy about these shepherds as you are?
Yeah, she wants another one actually.
Does she really?
She wants a male, I think,
She
a
wants a
purebred male.
full-blooded male.
I've been looking for. I have them come up. Actually, Nico was one.
Really?
Yeah, Nico was.
Nico's a nice. Have you met Nico?
I don't think
I don't
so.
know. I don't know if you probably weren't that transport. No, he was a purebred.
What? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Huh. So you started with. I mean, you got this one first, then
We
which
had
one?
we had Bella first. We got her actually a couple years before we ended
That
up.
one over there.
Yeah, this.
Okay.
We ended up with her, and then when we found the rescue, we ended up with Zeus first, and then Sadie came along, and
It's okay.
now we have 3. My wife would like to have another one, but I told her I'd like to wait
She's
till.
probably ready for a psychiatrist. When you get past, you know.
Are we all?
Oh yeah, when you get to 4, you're really nuts, and I'm nuts too because I have 4. 4 is entirely too many, I think.
Yeah, I'd like to get I told her I'd like to get somewhere where we could have plenty of yard where they could run and we could put an underground fence in. I think they get bored. And that's usually when they get into trouble. They start
Yeah.
chewing things and destroying things is when they get bored.
Are they used? We're diverting back again, just to shepherds in general. Are they very good as far? I know they're good as therapy dogs. I wouldn't have thought, but I've changed my mind on that. What about? Are they easy to train?
They're
Are
so
they
smart. They're very
Or
smart.
are they?
They're very smart.
Do they compete in? Have I ever seen any in agility?
Yep, they can. They're not probably as good because they're not as fast. You know, as your border collies and your.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've seen them in it though. I watched a Joey trial here just the other day, but they're too big, I think, too. You know, shepherds on the average are just a little bit. Like Zeus could probably do very well in one. You know, he's small, so he could probably do an agility pretty quick. But he's also a mix. But
He's
dock
fast.
diving, I know they do like barn hunts with shepherds.
Barn hunts, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, that's a big thing with them.
A lot of people use
Obedience
them.
training.
Search and rescue.
Yeah, search and rescue.
rescue's big with them, I'm sure.
And then
You see so many of those.
they got their name basically in the police.
Yeah.
They're used a lot for police dogs.
In the war,
They're big
in
and
World
strong.
War II and stuff, like
Yeah,
they were used
they
a
use
lot.
them, a lot of them in the military.
And it goes back to whenever we were back, we always laugh about this whenever I'm going places and I say to the little kids in the schools, do you know who Lassie is? They must think I have 5 heads. They have no clue. If I said to them, did you ever hear Rin Tin Tin? They probably don't know that one either. But you know, there was a time when they were the breeds to have.
That's where I think my love started, was Rin Tin Tin, when I was a kid.
Me too.
I mean, I've always said I'd have them, and here I am.
We always joke about Timmy's in the well because we always remember the Lassie shows. So tell me more about how does a rescue work? And do you keep all the possible rescue dogs at your house?
No, we are completely foster based.
Tell us about that because I wanted to explain to everybody, and they'll see this on one of my upcoming shows. I recently went up to Because You Care. And do you know why I went there? Because in their whole facility, the facility is gorgeous. It's up in McCain. And they have probably, what was there, Mr. Cameraman, about 7 kennels, I think, or 11 kennels. And all the rest of the dogs that they have at Because You Care are fostered out. And then they put everything online, and then people would decide if they're interested, they take them there to meet and greet and all that kind of stuff. So explain how that works as opposed to a place like one of the local humane societies or whatever that have 25 dogs in kennels.
They get more one-on-one.
Absolutely.
When I first started, I had built a kennel. I think it was 40 by 60, and I had 4 different runs where I could have 4 different litters or a couple dogs in each one. And yeah, I could rescue more, but they also weren't getting any one-on-one.
Right.
I worked full-time. I had a kennel girl that would come in, so they'd see somebody 2 or 3 times a day. I mean, they didn't have that one-on-one.
No,
They didn't have anything. And I just didn't like that. That's not how I wanted to do it. And so I went to foster base. So, you know, like Eric had fostered Sadie. So they got one-on-one. She started her housebreaking. She started learning manners. She got to know what a house is, you know, the noises in a house. Around kids, you know, because I tell my fosters, as soon as they're fully vaccinated, you know, just 3 shots, take them everywhere. You know, take them to softball games. If your kids have softball games, take them camping. You know, they have to get around that kind of stuff to get adopted.
I was talking to somebody recently who had adopted a dog from one of our local shelters. And I said, well, what do you know about that dog? Well, what do you mean, Sue? I said, well, where did the dog come from? And who's the dog good with? And how does the dog do with cats? And how does the dog do with other dogs and neighbor dogs and walking on a leash and all this? They knew nothing. And I mentioned that when I was at Because You Care, because I know that one of the people that has a therapy dog now has quit therapy work, which I'm upset about, but she now is a foster for Because You Care. And what they do is they get such a handout, it could be 2-3 pages long, of every conceivable thing about that dog while that dog was in foster care.
Yeah.
Okay, so a dog, so you're bringing the dog up, when's the next time you're bringing dogs up? You're
Be here
involved with
tomorrow.
something. Oh, and how many are coming? Do you think? How many will you
Right
end
now,
up
there's
with?
17 puppies.
Wait, are they all going to your house?
No, fosters.
They go from foster as soon as they land in
Yeah, as soon
where?
as they, Grove City is where we need
Grove
to
City is
transport.
your
We have
transit.
3 moms. One mom has 10 puppies. She was,
Are the puppies gonna move with the mom?
yes, because they're only 3 weeks old.
Oh
The
my,
puppies have to stay with mom. We have a pregnant mom that we're hoping makes it up here tomorrow
That's quite
before
a-
she has puppies.
that's quite a ride.
She's pretty. I think she's in labor today, so we're hoping that she gets here before she starts having them. And then we have a mom with 7 puppies that are, again, I think they're about 4 weeks old. So they'll
Okay.
stay with mom.
So I wanna be a foster for any breed. Will you just give me me? Can I just have anything I want? Or do you check me out first?
You have to fill out an application. We'll do your vet
So
checks.
you do an application, a veterinarian and house visit and all that
Personal
stuff?
checks. We don't do as many house visits now just because we are short-handed to do
Do
them.
virtual?
A lot of them will do virtual. Google Earth can show you a lot of things.
I'll bet.
Lying to you about stuff, you know, hey, I live in this, and you look and no, that's not where
No,
you
that's
live.
not what it says.
Pictures. When we had the help and before COVID, we would do some home checks. I know COVID's pretty much gone now, but we just never have the help to do it. You know, everybody that helps, even Eric, I said, works full-time. We don't have enough people.
Okay,
We've grown so much that we just
Oh,
don't
sure.
have the people anymore. I think we have 15 fosters right now,
You
and they're
do?
full all the time. I mean, my fosters, they get one leaves and another one replaces it.
What's the
within a week.
terminology you used a little while ago, the crazy foster person that ends up with a dog, one of the foster dogs?
Foster fair.
Foster fair.
call
Do you have a lot
foster
of, I
fair.
bet you have a lot of foster
Yes,
fairs.
we have. We've had a lot.
Wow. So, okay, so the dog goes to foster. How long do you usually stay in foster? A couple days or a
It
week?
depends. I like them to stay there at least a week,
Mm-hmm.
to make sure, they have to have their shots before they come up. But we want to make sure they didn't catch anything on transport. Kennel cough's a big thing. Even though they have the vaccination, there's so many strains of it
Oh, gotcha.
that they could get something different. So I like to at least be a week, make sure that, you know, all their poo's good and they're not coughing and, you know.
Do you have one particular vet that you go to whenever you get the dogs out of a transport? I mean, once they get here?
No, I use greener pastures a lot because that's
Okay.
my vet, but I've also gone to Waterford. A lot of it depends on where the fosters are.
Okay.
I have fosters from Martins Ferry, Ohio, into Beaver, PA, Pittsburgh, PA. We have them up in Erie. We have Northeast. Eric was, you know, they were in Cockerton. So I have a lot of fosters that are spread out. I wouldn't expect them from Beaver, 2 hours away, to bring a puppy to Meadville.
Okay, now,
So they use their vet. You know,
Okay,
they're
now-
allowed to use their own vet.
all right, so I'm interested. Now, do you post them online?
They're on Facebook and we have a website.
So everybody that wants to know more about Saving Shepherds, where do they find this out? Then we'll talk more about that. Is it
On Facebook. Facebook's the main one.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Under Saving
Saving
Shepherds.
Shepherds Rescue.
What about under the website?
It's
Same thing?
savingshepherdsrescue.com or
Same thing.
.org. Sorry.
Okay. Do you post pictures there a lot?
That we're still up and building it. We just got it done, so it's not as up to date as the Facebook is yet. I'm not the best website person.
Oh, I'm not either.
I'm trying to figure it out. I mean, I have a person that's helping me and he also works full time, so we're trying. Right now, I mean, we don't have a lot on there.
Well,
just
we're
trying
gonna
to
give you, when this is all over in about a week or so, we're gonna give you a DVD, right? Or, no, a link,
Okay.
correct? My cameraman
We can
has
put
to
that on
always,
the website.
he has to check me out all the time because I get confused. He's gonna give us a link and then you'll be able to put it out there for everybody that wants to see everything we've talked about here. So, so if I decide that I'm interested in a dog and I find out it's in Martins Ferry, West Virginia, how do I see this dog?
A lot of times the fosters will meet halfway.
Halfway?
Yeah, because we've had a few come from across the state that I've met in snowshoe. You know, I drove, I
Really?
went, if the foster can't do it, I'll go get the dog. And she was from Reading. Yeah, and she adopted a dog.
What's it cost to adopt a dog from you?
$300 is our adoption fee.
And what's that
If
cover?
they're spayed and neutered, they're $350. We microchip them. They'll have their first sets of vaccinations. Usually it's 2, possibly 3, depending on the age of the puppy, how spread out they are. They'll have their Bordetella, which is their kennel cough vaccine. I think I said we microchip them. They have rabies if they're old enough, and their transport fee. A lot of ours is our transport fee, sadly.
When do you believe the dogs, this is your opinion, I'm not asking you this, no, it's not in stone or anything here, but when do you think they should be spayed and neutered? They're usually spayed and neutered before they're adopted out, aren't they?
Not for a shepherd. My
very well.
contract is 8 months.
So you
They
can't
have to be done by 8 months old.
For the neuter or for the spayed or both?
I've also even because some vets even here now finally changed. I know a lot of vets told you 6 months, but even some of our vets are finally seeing with hip dysplasia. They need those hormones to grow. They need it for the growth. I mean, does it help that they're not going to get hip dysplasia? No, because like we talked about, that's genetic. But it doesn't, they need those hormones. So they spay and neuter when they're 8 months old.
Oh, stop.
And they have to send proof that they were done.
Every time they growl, I jump. Did you see that? That's
We're
my
just
little
laying here. She's
German
just growling.
Shepherd. It's this one here.
Yeah, Sadie.
Sadie, it's you that's making me jump every time you growl. I think you're going to me instead of that puppy over there.
Kyla's like, I don't know what I'm
You know, it's funny, a lot of the shelters are now spayed neutering them.
They're doing juvenile spay and neuter.
Yeah, they
and that's
are.
really not, it's not good. Now, small breed, you can get away with it.
Yeah.
You know, I do not have a problem with a small breed, but I had one that came up that the shelter down in Texas insisted on, it was a whole litter actually, there was 5, on spay and neutering before they left. They were 10 weeks old. Every single one of them now, they were one of my first ones I brought up in 2019, all have incontinence problems. Every single one of them.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. So out of 5, the juvenile spay, and I mean, you can't tell me it doesn't have something to do with it. That's just my feeling. Eventually, we would like to include that in an adoption fee. Right now, we're just starting. We just don't have the money to do that.
No.
And it's hard to find a shelter or a clinic here to work with you. Like in Texas, I could spay and neuter a dog in Texas all day for $120 at any clinic down there because they work with rescues there because there's so
Right.
many dogs. Here, you don't have that. I mean, you're talking $400 or $500 to have a dog spay. Well, my
Absolutely.
adoption fee is $300. You know, it kind of goes hand in hand with I can't charge more. You know, but
Are you a 501c3?
yes, I am.
So this is that time of year when people, not quite yet, but it's coming, whenever people are starting to think of ways that they can give money to a 501c3 to take it off their income tax.
Yes.
That's a great idea. They need to do this for you. We talk about this all the time. I have things that really drive me crazy. And one is that when people that are listening to any of our programs are giving them money to national organizations. I'm so against that because probably 10 cents out of every dollar,
Actually
or less
goes
than
to
that,
the dog.
actually goes there. Where if they give it to you, it's
It all
going to go
goes
to
to them.
Saving Shepherd.
Yes.
Yeah, if anybody gives it to Because You Care, it's
goes
going
to
there.
them.
If they're going to the one we just did on spade and neuter of cats and kittens and puppies, it all goes to them. You really do need to do this. There are other organizations that are local. Even if you go local to like a local Crawford County Hospice,
Yeah.
it's going to go to Crawford County Hospice. It's not going to go to some other place. And that's why we need to get everybody to give all their money to the local organizations.
We are doing Crawford Gives at the end of the month.
I was just going to ask,
yes, we are.
did you get any money out of Erie Gives? No.
We are not Erie County, so
I know,
I can't do
yeah.
Erie County, but we are Crawford Gives. We're hoping that'll get some. Unfortunately, you have a lot of sick dogs. They're not just from Texas. We actually took in a parvo puppy
Did you?
from an owner. He was just south of Pittsburgh, so that was here. It wasn't a dog that was brought up. It wasn't our dog, but they
A German
wouldn't
Shepherd.
treat it. It was looks like a collie mix, a shepherd collie mix maybe.
And
She's
where did
not
she
good.
end up?
Now she's in a foster home, but we had, I think our vet bill was $5,300 for her vet bill. I mean, that's just one vet bill. You know, we had some that came up with pneumonia. I'm thinking that was in March or April. And by the time they were there was 3 of them that got extremely sick, and they were in State College at a
My Lord.
ER hospital, and that vet bill was just under $14,000.
Okay, if I can't give you money, what else do you need?
We always need puppy food,
Puppy
puppy
food.
pads, you know, because a lot of
Puppy
fosters are
pads,
getting,
right?
collars, leashes, blankets, and it's great at Christmas time. Walmart has their $3 blankets. And last year I did get a lot. I was actually by Christmas, I'm like, I do not need any more blankets forever. But they were gone. You know,
How about
now I'm buying blankets again because I did use them all. Every puppy gets a blanket. The litter will get a whole blanket so that they all can sleep on it before they go to their homes. So when they go to their new adoptive home, all the scents are on that blanket. The mom's scent, the other sibling's scents stay on that blanket.
How about toys? Really?
Take toys. Yep.
Do they have to be certain toys?
No,
I have boxes of toys.
that'd be awesome.
Really? You're gonna get them.
Okay.
Because
thank
I
you.
have so many. You know, many of us, you get the dog and you think, oh, this is wonderful. I'm gonna get Bark Box. You ever do Bark Box?
Yeah.
They send you 2 toys a month, and within no time you've got thousands of toys. And I've got boxes of them. And I will give them to you if you think you can use them. And it won't matter if they get torn apart because who cares?
Because every pup we send, I think Eric's seen the care package, probably did it with Sadie. We send a bag of food. We use Pro Plan.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yes, it's not a cheap food, but a lot of them, when they come up, we can't use a cheap food. They're already skinny, they already,
Oh, yeah.
you know, they've been in shelters, so they have to, we feed a better food. They get a toy, they get first month flea tick heartworm medicine, they'll have that in their care package. Leashes, if I have them, I like the slip leashes for
Oh, do you?
puppies. I have them, they'll get one of those, or a martingale collar, they'll get one of the 2 in their
You have,
care package, a
you have
blanket.
pinch on these, don't you?
Yeah,
Both? Oh.
she don't walk real good without one.
No, I've always.
Not yet.
I've done the pinch to the choke, and then with the collie, not so much as these. With a collie, if you use a regular choke, it really cuts the fur. So I have the nylon ones that I like real well.
And
then
she's
they're
only
kinda
on it,
good.
and only just when I walk. I mean, besides that, she can do a regular collar, but she don't do bad, but she'll see something and think she wants to go chase a rabbit or a bird, and she's gonna be,
Oh,
oh,
you know,
Hey, you got
you're
Sadie
getting a
all wound
little
up again.
nutsy here. You were doing so well with them for a minute. They were all down and quiet. What
What are you growling
happened?
about? I don't know. He's growling at something. I don't know.
I think
growling?
somebody came up a few
oh,
minutes
it
ago.
might have been,
on
they
the
must have
steps.
seen something under the door.
That might have been.
They can see the shadow under the door.
Probably that might have done it too. Eric, tell me a little bit more about these guys. They're not up for adoption, but just tell me what are they? How are they? Really great.
They are. They're really good dogs. They're really, like I said, they're really loyal. They're really loving.
Tell me about each one of them so people get to know these.
He's the Zeus. He's way more hyperactive. Like I said, he's part Chihuahua, part Shepherd. So he has a little bit of little dog syndrome in him sometimes. He gets a little scared and nervous. But he does pretty good. He's very loving. He loves to cuddle.
Who's the boss of? Not, I know you're the boss, but of the 3, who's the boss?
Probably this one. She's kind of taken. Bella's kind of taken on the mom role. She'll put them in her place if they start to get out of hand, and she'll bark at them and give them the old mom growl, and they'll calm down. This Sadie's not as hyperactive, but she loves to cuddle. She's very loving. She loves to give kisses. She loves to get right in your face and give you a kiss.
Explain to the people that are listening the importance of you being the alpha in the house.
What
does that mean?
If you don't establish being the leader of a German Shepherd, they will become the leader of the pack. And if you don't show them that you're in charge, they will kind of take over, and they'll destroy things. They'll be uncontrollable. They'll do things that a lot of people decide they don't want a German Shepherd because they didn't train them properly, and they're not the alpha. So.
Do you ever take them to training? You do your own training at home.
Yeah, I've trained them all myself. I mean, it's not for everyone, but I recommend that if you don't feel comfortable training them, then I recommend that you hire a trainer to do it if you want to have a German Shepherd.
Absolutely.
Because they can take over very quickly. If they think they can be the leader of the pack, they're going to be the leader of the pack. So you just, like, I don't have very many problems with them. I mean, they listen to me pretty well. So I take all 3 of them on a walk.
Where do they sleep?
Usually in bed with us.
They take up a lot of room, I would think.
Yeah, usually it's just these 2. Sometimes she'll lay up in the bed, but I have a California king bed at home, and sometimes they take up majority of it.
I'm sure. Do yours sleep on the bed too?
Might get too hot. They've tried it a few times. They'd rather be out in the living room where the air conditioner's on. Because they'll start in bed and within 5 minutes they're all standing at the door. I just think they get too hot.
Do you have to brush them?
Yes.
Do you really?
Yes,
You
a lot.
brush yours?
I brush mine and I groom them like every 6 to 8 weeks. I take them to a loving touch pet parlor.
Do they do that de-shedding deal with it? Yeah, that is
Yep,
so important.
She bathes them, clips their nails, de-sheds them, cleans them all up, and they love her, so.
I hope my cameraman's getting a picture of the one in love with the other.
Oh, I know, that's so cute.
My Lord.
They love to, as much as they love to fight each other, they love to cuddle with each other too.
Do you think you will get a male next?
Probably.
I didn't jump as much that time.
No, and she's laying down. I thought maybe she got back up, but she didn't.
Sadie needs to have a brain adjustment. Stop. I'm always yelling, knock it off, stop, enough.
Leave Kyla alone. Leave her alone.
She's like, no, I don't want to go.
Sit.
She is, she's a toughie.
Yeah, she likes to play. You'd think she would like want to go over and eat another dog, but she actually just wants to go over and play. We have our neighbor has a Dalmatian, and she did that to his Dalmatian too. But then now they'll go outside and run around the yard together and play with each other. Wet.
When they're playing, though, you'll think that they're pretty ferocious, even as they play.
Right.
Shepherds play hard, they play rough.
Yeah, I know they do.
I've heard mine a few times, my 4 outside, and I'm like, okay, who's getting killed out there? But you go out and they're just playing, but
Do you monitor your Facebook quite a bit so people can find out about
Constantly.
Okay.
yeah, we have 2 of us that are on there all the time, pretty much. Yep.
So let's review so everybody remembers. Your name again is Lori Moses.
Lori Moses.
You're the Kahuna boss.
Yeah,
You're
I'm the boss.
Is this one of your number 1 adopters of shepherds over here? Well, he's not taking any right now.
No, he's not taking any. We've had, I've had one with 3, but we've had a couple with 2, because they seem to come back. I think shepherds are one of them dogs that once you get one, they want another one. So within a year or 2, I've had at least 2 adopters. But Eric helps, and Nicole, his wife, they help with more fundraising. We always need help with something. And they
can
help do that.
They can sign up on Facebook or find out what you're doing.
Yeah, they could send
And
us
get
an
help.
email and say if they would want to help. We always need, a lot of help is, like I said, everybody works. And it'd be nice to have, and it doesn't happen a lot, but hey, this dog needs to get to the vet.
Right.
The foster's working, so they can't get it to the vet. Well, I'm at work, so I can't get it to the vet. Somebody that could, hey, I can pick up the dog and take it to the vet, whether it's for a shot or a rabies shot or whatever it might need
Right.
from the foster. But we don't have that. We really need somebody local that can do that,
We've heard a lot out of COVID, a lot of people that got these dogs, different dogs, and now don't want them. And I always say to people whenever they say, Sue, I've got this dog, what am I going to do? And I say, step number 1, go to the American Kennel Club website and look under shelters. And find the shelter that really will take care of that breed. Because that's what I wish all dogs that are not wanted any longer would end up at a shelter for the breed. Because you know about them. You know what people are getting into. And a lot of the shelters, unfortunately, get these guys in and don't know how to deal with them, and a lot of them end up in the next step, which is not a pleasant step, and that's the fact of putting the dog.
And even with us, it's hard, because we'll get, I get local calls. I think we got one yesterday and one on Sunday. Well, yesterday was Sunday. So we got one on Friday and one on Sunday, wanting to surrender a shepherd. Well, it didn't like anything. It doesn't like other dogs, it doesn't like people, it doesn't like kids, it doesn't like cats.
Well, what's your response to that? What's your response in the back of your head?
Shouldn't have the dog.
You shouldn't have the dog,
You
right?
didn't do with the dog what you should have done. Obviously, it was never socialized. You didn't do anything with that dog. And what's hard with us is we don't have a shelter environment. So I can't take an aggressive dog. I can't bring an aggressive dog that's 2 years old and say, hey, Eric, do you want this dog? And take it in, because he has dogs. Every one of my fosters has dogs. They have cats, they have kids.
So what do you do with a situation like that? Where do you
We
tell
can't
them to
take
go?
them. Char Wills is across the state. Sometimes they'll take them. But, they've contacted me and said, well, it just bit me, it bit my neighbor. That's a liability. There's very many rescues that are going to take a dog that bit somebody. Now you've already sealed that dog's fate. And it was the owner's fault. And I 100% agree with that.
Isn't it always?
And it's not just shepherds. It's any dog. And once they bite somebody, a shelter or a rescue
They're not gonna take 'em.
aren't going to touch them. Because, we can't have that liability for that. But, we get it all the time, even local ones now that, I can't keep them.
Well, now, if a shelter or if a shelter, or a county shelter in Pennsylvania ends up with a shepherd, will they generally try and get them to a saving shelter or a place like that?
I've never had any in Pennsylvania do it, and I've had West Virginia, because my one foster lives so close to the West Virginia line in Pennsylvania. She works with West Virginia. I've had them contact me a few times from a West Virginia shelter, and I've taken dogs in, but our local ones here don't. You know, like if the Anna shelter gets them in, or Crawford County, I've never had them reach out and say, hey, we have a shepherd in here, can you take it? They just keep
Why
it
don't they do
themselves.
that? I mean, why
I
don't
guess
they
because
do
they have
that for
their
all
own
breeds?
facilities. They just have their own facilities, so they, you know.
I'm glad I'm not in charge of that, because if I was in charge, I'd be calling people that were breed specific all the time. I'd want the right people to have them. I think this has been wonderful, and you've certainly changed my opinion. I'm not sure about that one over there that makes me jump every
Well,
time.
now she's like sitting.
She
well,
is,
see,
but
this
whenever
woman's
she
not
comes
lazy.
across in front of me, I go like, oh no, here she
Kyla
comes.
just lays over here. She's like, and for a 7-month-old puppy, she's pretty good.
I think she did wonderfully, and this one here is so spoiled.
Oh,
I think
Zeus.
the problem here with you is, Eric, now that I'm going up to say this, you're the spoiler. Is your wife this bad of a spoiler?
Yes, oh yeah. Yeah, they,
So when these dogs end up with you, they're just more like the lucky dog.
yeah, they're very well spoiled. But I think that helps them. I think they learn to trust.
I didn't jump that time.
No, and
What are you
she,
barking about? Quit. I
I think
think
she
it,
thinks Kyla's gonna get up right there or something.
oh, stop.
How many times do you have your hand in the faces and pushing them, just say, you're not
Usually I
going."
just let them go, but they would probably destroy this whole place up here if I let them go.
They might get too close to me, and I'm not that much of a fan of
They,
these, but I do like them. They're very nice.
At home they fight all the time, but they're very spoiled. But they listen. They know when enough's enough. Quit.
Baby girl.
Wait, what do we have? Female. What are the other two there? Male.
Female.
Male and female.
Oh, okay.
I prefer my males, I do have to say that.
We talked about that. I do too, and I've just recently gotten a female, and I'm starting to say, why did I do this?
They have
Because-
more of an alpha personality. I mean, they're also more protective. I mean, my females notice everything. I don't know how Zeus is, but my males, I can rearrange my living room, my males, they don't care. You know, if my females are out of the room and come back, even her as a pup, they stop. And you
Oh,
have
yeah.
to look and be like, what did you do? And why is it over there?
Mm-hmm.
They're just more alert, they're just more territorial, I think, than a male. My males, they could care less what you do. As long as they're getting food and treats, they're like, yeah, we don't care what you're doing.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I really, honestly, we have to say it again. Please help Saving Shepherds. They need your help. They need your support. If you have neighbors that ever come up with a question about shepherds, or if you're interested in ever adopting one, or you want to know anything more about them, you're going to call Saving Shepherds. You're going to go on her Facebook page. You're going to say savingshepherds.com.
SavingShepherdsRescue.org.
Hey, tell us again, what are the things you need? Because maybe, I'm going to give you toys. You're going to
Blankets,
be
we
on my
need
list for
blankets,
toys.
Pro Plan puppy food is a lot of what we feed.
Dishes,
Yeah, dog bowls we can use.
leashes.
Yep, we like the slip,
Leashes.
any leashes, I mean, we like the slip leads just because we don't know what size collars the puppies need when they come up, and the slip leads are easy, to put on, they're easy for the fosters to use.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times those will also go home with adopters, so we're always short. I'm always buying more slip leads because I send them home with those.
Do they also go home with a pinch sometimes, or?
No,
You
because they're
encourage
too.
pinches?
It depends on the dog. If they
Yeah.
if it's trainable without one, then no. It's not a nest. I don't say you have to have it, but it seems like they just kind of get a mind of their own sometimes.
Yeah.
And I don't like a regular collar because it pulls so much on them. If they're a puller, it just seems like they're choking on
I
it all
agree,
the time.
I agree.
A harness, I've tried the harnesses, and I think a harness is made for them to pull harder, if you want my opinion. That's what a husky's in when they pull a sled.
you and I are right there
You
on
put a
that.
harness on them, and then they get all that strength behind them, so I've never had good luck with that. But definitely you want to learn how to use one. If you're going to use one, you want to go to a trainer and
find out
go
how
to an
use it
obedience
properly.
class and learn
Right.
how to use one correctly. Because not used correctly, they can be damaging to them.
Yeah.
So,
Eric, thank you for bringing these three beautiful German Shepherds with you. Especially, I don't know, I kind of like the small one here too.
Zeus,
And- yes. And Lori, thank you for spending the time. I'm glad we hooked up and you were able to do this. I hope we covered everything. Are you sure there isn't anything else you wanted to know?
I think we covered it all.
Leave it.
Okay,
Like I said,
well,
I don't think you'd ever go wrong with a shepherd. They're just good dogs.
okay.
I know everyone has their breed, but
Yes, we
this is
do,
mine.
don't we? Okay, thanks very much. I appreciate it. And good luck to you. And I hope you do well. And I hope you do well on Crawford Gives.
Thank you.
And keep on doing that for you. And if there's ever anything that we can do for you and anything exciting comes up with saving shepherds or whatever, we'll always do another program for you.
All right,
Get
sounds
word
good.
out. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.